Hello, me again, back with another Euro 2020 video. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. So good to see each and every one of you again for what feels like the 5th time this week. What we are doing today, one day away from the start. Oh, well, I guess by the time you're seeing this, it's probably the day of Euro 2020. But regardless, just around the corner, Turkey and Italy are set to kick off either today or tomorrow, depending on when you see this video / when it goes up. But Euro 2020 about to get underway. What we're doing today is I'm setting my Euro 2020 fantasy lineup, which is something I've never been good at, but we're going to give it a shot for this competition anyway. I am so excited for this competition to get underway in just a few hours, and this is just another way to get in on the action, to have some stake in the action, to be a bit more involved, even though it will inevitably end very poorly for me. Before we do get into it though, if you are new to my channel, first of all, welcome, you're in the right place, but also please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and press that bell so you get all of the post notifications. Still plenty more nations to preview for this competition. They'll be coming out, don't worry, I haven't forgotten, they'll probably come out the day before their first match. So tomorrow's Italy, then we'll talk about Holland, and then Spain, and they're coming. The preview videos are coming, so you're not going to want to miss a single one. Also, if you're new, check out the preview videos that have already been posted. We've got England, France, and Portugal, with Italy probably, if it's not already been posted, it's going to be posted in like 2 hours. So check all those out. Turn on the post notifications so you don't miss a single one in the future, along with my official tournament predictions, which should also be coming out today. 3 videos in one day? Well, hopefully they're all uploaded by the time you're watching this video on YouTube. So here's a look at the official template, completely blank. I'm playing on the official Euro website. So that's the official prices, the official scoring, everything. That's where I'm playing. If this looks familiar or unfamiliar or interesting, I'll leave a link in the below if you want to fill out a team as well. Now, I am doing this virtually from scratch, so I've taken a few glimpses at players and prices and positions and whatnot, but I don't have a team as of right now, so this is going to be kind of a real-time thing as we go along. I do know of a couple rules, though, which will be very helpful when filling out this team. You can change your captain every single day, which is very friendly. The Premier League Fantasy, they don't let you do that. Also, a bit of a tactical advantage you can play there. Substitutions you can make every day. You get 4 subs. You can see them down there. 4 subs. You can switch them out every single day. You can only pick 3 players per team in the group phase. Once you get to the knockout phase, that changes. But in the group phase, it's 3 players per team, which I don't think should be an issue, but we'll see. You get 2 transfers in between each match day, so you can take 2 players out of your team and bring 2 new players in. But once the group phase ends, you get unlimited transfers for the round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal, final, just because players have been eliminated and you don't want to have an eliminated player in your team. So they're very nice to let you have unlimited transfers per round. You also get 2 power-ups. You get the wild card power-up and the limitless power-up, both of which allow you to essentially completely revamp your team. I think, based on my very limited tactical understanding of this game, I'm going to save those for match week 3. So much of my team is going to be picked based on their first 2 games, because the third match week, if it lets you completely overhaul your team, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it if you can make unlimited transfers for it. I think is how that works. Would be super awkward if that's not how it worked, and I'm digging myself into a hole. So like I said, haven't looked at this a whole lot, but I do know there's 3 players that I absolutely want in my team, and I've already gone and put them in the squad. You can see them there. The first one is Romelu Lukaku. I think if you're making a fantasy Euro team and you don't have Romelu Lukaku included, settle for second place, because this guy is going to have so many goal-scoring opportunities presented to him. Take a look at his group. It is no disrespect, a simple group, at least the first 3 matches of this group phase. Russia, Denmark, Finland, neither one of them, or none of the 3, you can really foresee giving Belgium huge problems. That could change once they get into the round of 16. We'll get into that a little bit later, who they could match up with. But in the group stage specifically, it's 3 very friendly matchups for one of the most prolific forwards on the entire planet. I do wonder where else their goals may come from if Lukaku is not finding the back of the net. I don't have a huge amount of faith in Dries Mertens at the moment. Eden Hazard is obviously fighting injuries. Kevin De Bruyne may not even be in the team for match day 1. So Romelu Lukaku, number 1. 48% of people already have him in their team. I think it's a pretty clear no-brainer to pencil Lukaku in. Even with that hefty price tag, I think it's worth it. And I've also gone for a pair of Dutch players, one forward and one defender. We'll start with the forward. That's Memphis Depay. I think he is lined up for a fantastic European Championships, and it again too has to do with the group that they're in, their Euro group with Ukraine, with Austria, and with North Macedonia. It's the same deal. None of those three nations you look at and say, oh wow, that's going to cause the Netherlands some problems. Memphis Depay is a player, he might be the most involved player in a team's attack out of any of the front runners in this competition. He does everything for this Dutch squad, whether he plays centrally or whether he plays over on the left or if he plays with a second striker, and that's the forward group. Depay is involved with everything. He'll score goals, he'll create chances, he stands over set pieces, he takes penalties, he will score points, and 10 million too is not an awful price tag for a player of his caliber, because some of the more expensive players, Ronaldo, Mbappe, Harry Kane, they're a bit more expensive. Maybe they'll do a little bit more, but I am obsessed with Memphis Depay in this summer's European Championships. I think he'll have a big tournament. And the last one is Matthijs de Ligt, who I've selected as my first defender out of three. Again, it comes down to the matchups: Ukraine, Austria, North Macedonia. With defenders, there's really two things you want to look for, and it's clean sheets and or goal contributions. There are some players who are listed as defenders who will actually play a wide midfield and get more involved in the attack. Thomas Meunier is one of them, who I was thinking about. I'm not sure if I'll put him in my team just yet. But, I mean, De Ligt will score points. The Netherlands will give up very, very few goals to these three teams. I think in terms of the Holland defense, De Ligt is the only definite. They'll probably play with five at the back, but it's very likely they could play with four, and you don't know who that second center back would be. It could be Nathan Ake, it could be Stefan de Vrij, wishing how to pronounce his name. I've said it a million times, and I never bothered to look it up. But he could start for Holland. But the one definite is this man, Matthijs de Ligt, and so I've penciled him in as my first defender. I'd like to go and find a third forward before I get into the midfield, because that's where I prefer to have most of my points coming from. Lukaku and Depay are locks. We could go for a player like Cristiano or Kylian Mbappe, two very expensive players. But I think the player who intrigues me a bit more is Ciro Immobile in Italy. Turkey, Switzerland, Wales. Not the most difficult group. That Turkey tie will be a little bit tough. That one kicks off today. It's the first match of the entire tournament, actually. But Immobile is just a serial goal scorer. He'll have his chances. Italy will want possession of the ball. They may have Lorenzo Insigne playing along with him up there, who's very good at creating chances. Nicolo Barella is a player who I'm very, very high on. I think Immobile will have a very good tournament. And if we're talking about specifically in the group phase, I think it'll be just fine. I don't know that Italy. I think Italy will be just fine. I don't know how they'll do after that. They may get a tough draw in the round of 16. I'm not overly high on them as a whole, as a nation that can make a run, but they do have, it should be said, a very friendly group phase, and I think Immobile will score a few goals. I do also want an England player in my team. It's not going to be Harry Kane, obviously, but England are the second favorites to win the whole thing, and I think if that's the case, then you've got to have at least one or two of their players in your team. They got a friendly group with Croatia, Czech Republic, and Scotland. I think the player for me, and it's tough because defensively, who knows if Harry Maguire will play. John Stones is a bit pricey. But then in midfield, you don't know who is going to start. You've got Grealish, Foden, and Mount maybe competing for two places. Jadon Sancho is good. He's expensive, but he's always been a bit of an afterthought in terms of international competition. Hasn't really broken out with the English national team yet. Raheem Sterling, who knows if he'll even start for England. I think the player I'm going to go with is Mason Mount. I think I'm most confident that he'll start over Grealish and Foden. I talked about it in my England preview video. Technically, three players fighting for two spots, but I think it's really more like Foden and Grealish fighting for that left wing spot. I think Mason Mount's place in the team is pretty locked in at this point. He's a player who'll just float. He'll create chances. He's got a really, really prolific group of forwards playing ahead of him, so you assume that maybe he'll rack up 2 or 3 assists in the group phase, which is all that matters for now. I'm going to go for Mason Mount, also because of the price tag. $7 million is not a whole lot for a player that will be starting and creating for one of the favorites of the competition. And I also want to take another look at Italy because, like I said, not super high on their tournament chances as a whole, but I really like the group that they've been drawn into, and I really like specifically Lorenzo Insigne. There are a couple reasons why. Number one, he creates chances for this Italy side. I think he pairs well with Immobile in the same team. I think that will be a link-up that will work very well, at least in the group phase. I don't hate the price either, 8.5 million for one of Italy's chief creators, if not their primary creator. And with Insigne too, and I think there are a couple more who I'm going to go for in this midfield who share this characteristic. Insigne is labeled as a midfielder. He's not going to play in midfield. He's going to play left wing, most likely. He's going to be further up the pitch than a traditional midfielder. And I think that's what I'm looking for in terms of these four midfield players, is somebody who will be in the attacking third more often than not. You can get some really good defensive midfielders, Joshua Kimmich, N'Golo Kante, but the points won't be there. And that's the most important thing is, yeah, maybe Kimmich is a better player than Mason Mount, but in terms of fantasy, Mason Mount's going to score more points because he's just in more prolific areas of the pitch where he can score goals, get assists, create chances. Insigne is one of those players. He's a midfielder in the game, but he's a left wing in real life, and so he'll be up there in the attacking third, dancing around the penalty area, making things happen. So that's another reason why I'm very, very high on Insigne, at least in the group phase of this thing. And that's also why I'm very high on a Spanish playmaker, Ferran Torres, another player who is labeled as a midfielder, but who I think will probably be playing on the right side of an attacking three with Alvaro Morata and Mikel Oyarzabal. Ferran Torres, of course, a very, very good first season with Manchester City in 2020, 2021. He will be I'd be shocked if Ferran Torres did not start for Spain at this summer's Euros. And Spain, too, is a team that will keep the ball. It's a very good midfield with Busquets, Thiago, Dani Olmo, whoever else you want to throw in there. Pedri might even play. Koke. It's a very good Spanish side with another example of a friendly group. It's Sweden, Poland, and Slovakia. So Spain the favorite to win the group, which means they're going to score goals. I think Ferran Torres could be one of those players, another midfielder who's going to likely be playing on as part of an attacking three. So that leaves one more. Actually, should I go to the defense first before I pick my fourth midfielder? No, I'll pick my fourth midfielder. And then if he's too expensive, then we'll figure something else out. There are some good players. Bruno Fernandes is very expensive, but maybe rightfully so. I think what dissuades me from him is the fact that Ronaldo is also in the team, and that group is very, very difficult. You can take a look at it. He gets Hungary on match day one, but after that it's Germany and France. It's a very, very it's group of death to a T, this Group F. So I'm a bit hesitant to take players in that group, in the group phase, just because they're all going to be such tough matches. Again, Sterling, Sancho, will they play? Will they be involved? Don't really know. Could go for a player like Leroy Sané, but it's the same deal. He's stuck in that group of death. Gareth Bale is intriguing, but 9.5 million for a player who is aging. And I love Gareth Bale. I mean, you all know of my Spurs fandom. I love Gareth Bale. But I think it's going to be a little bit different for him now, having to be the chief attacking player, the primary creator, the main goal scorer, coming off a season at Spurs in which he was largely on a pecking order behind Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. He scored goals, but he wasn't given a huge amount of responsibility. It's the complete opposite for Wales this summer. I don't know if he's worth that price tag. Gnabry, Havertz, again, very good players, but stuck in that group. Çalhanoğlu fascinates me, too, at Turkey. I'm just high on this Turkey squad as a whole. I think that it's one that will surprise some people. It is a somewhat friendly group with Italy, Wales, and Switzerland. He's going to be playing in the middle of the midfield, I think. He'll probably be taking on the same number 10 role that he takes on with AC Milan, and he was one of Serie A's best attacking midfielders this season. What about Diogo Jota? And actually, I shouldn't put him in yet. Would this be hypocritical if I spent the last 2.5 minutes talking about how I would be very hesitant to go near a player in this group of death and then pick a player in the group of death? I don't know, but Jota fascinates me because he too, like Ferran Torres and like Lorenzo Insigne, is not going to be playing in midfield. He'll be playing, actually with Jota, he'll be playing on the right side of an attacking three, but even he's going to get a bit more central. He'll be playing with Cristiano in the penalty area. That's where he does his best work. They do get Hungary on match day one, which is really, really enticing. 8.5. Not a bad price tag. Oh man, would I get flamed for this if I just talk about how I wouldn't take a player from this group and then I take a player from the group? Let's do it. Let's pick Diogo Jota just for now. If we have to go back and change it, then we will. But I like Jota a lot. He's got an important role to play with this Portugal side. I do think, for what it's worth, Portugal finished second in the group. I think they will beat Hungary for sure, and I think they'll likely get a result against Germany. I think they'll win against Germany. But aside from all of that, Jota is a player who you can get in a midfield slot who will be involved and will score goals and get assists. So I'm going to break my rule that I established 20 seconds ago and pick a player from Group F in my midfield. All right, let's look at defenders. I think the big thing for me with defenders is that I want players who will keep clean sheets. I'm not super obsessed with defenders who play as wing backs or wide midfielders who will get up the pitch and score. I know I mentioned Thomas Meunier potentially as a player who could fit that mold, but I don't know. I think I am prioritizing the defensive stats for my defenders. Rafael Guerreiro, another one of them, the most expensive defender available, plays left back for Portugal, but will be in the attacking third more often than not. I think I'm going to go with your traditional stand tall center backs who won't get high up the pitch, but will keep clean sheets. That's why I've gone with Matthias de Ligt, because it is, like I said, it's a friendly group with Ukraine, Austria, and Macedonia. Very well could be 3 clean sheets for the Netherlands when things are all said and done. Not sure there. But I like de Ligt. Similarly, I think I'm going to go for a Spanish defender because I like their group a lot. And I think the player that I'm going to go for is Pau Torres. I'm going between Pau Torres and Aymeric Laporte. Pau Torres is obviously significantly cheaper. I truthfully don't know why. I don't think Pau Torres is at risk of not starting. I think he is Spain's number 2 center back, especially with no Sergio Ramos in the squad. And this group for Spain, it's Sweden, this is Poland, and Slovakia. So another situation where, I mean, that Sweden tie could be tough on match day 1, but Poland and Slovakia, two sides that Spain could very well keep clean sheets against, especially if they enjoy having possession of the ball. You might be thinking, will Poland, Robert Lewandowski, Spain will not keep a clean sheet against him? Look at everybody around him. I mean, yeah, Lewandowski is an excellent striker. Who is he going to get chances from? Unless he just creates entirely by himself, in which case he'll be exhausted by match day 2 anyway, because he's done everything for Poland on match day 1. So Pau Torres, I think I like a lot. Good price. Fits my mold of a player who I want on a favorite to win. Friendly group will keep clean sheets for me. And although I'm not super high on them in the tournament as a whole, I am very high on Belgium, specifically for their group. That's why I've gone for Romelu Lukaku. I'm also going to go for Jason Denayer. Belgium play in a 5-back. They play with 3 center backs and then 2 wide midfielders, wing backs, whatever. And that can be Thomas Meunier. That can be Yannick Carrasco. Timothy Castagne could also fit that mold. But Jason Denayer is probably, not probably, he is the center back that's going to start alongside Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. Again, Belgium will take a look at the teams they're playing. It's Russia, Denmark, Finland, 3 legitimate clean sheet opportunities for this Belgium squad. And 2, I think, when we're talking about fantasy sports like this, you should be going, especially if it's just the group phase, you should be picking players for the favorites who have easy groups. And although I'm not crazy about Belgium's chances as a whole, I'm not crazy about Italy's chances as a whole, I'm not even that crazy about Spain's chances as a whole. They've got friendly groups, and they're the clear-cut favorites to win those groups, and you can't really pick out another nation in their groups that you look at and say, no, you have a legitimate shot at topping this. So that's why I've doubled up on them. I am very high on the Dutch. You'll find out a little bit later when I release that Netherlands preview video. But I think that's my tactic. And I think that should be everyone's tactic, right? If it's just the group phase, you should be taking players who play for good teams in the group phase. Right? That's smart. You should hire me for this stuff. Goalkeeper. Let's see who we're looking at. I don't want Thibaut Courtois. I've got 22.5 left, which actually might cause some problems. Let me think. Well, the cheapest players, I'm one of those players who is cheap with my bench. I'll just go and I'll find the cheapest players and plug them in because I don't care. I want my starting 11 and that's that. And if I had to make transfers, I'll make transfers. And if I had to take a points hit, I'll take a points hit. I think the cheapest players are around 4.5, and we've got 4 bench slots. So that means, let's say 17. We'll put 17 aside for the bench. That gives us 5.5 for a goalkeeper, which is perfect, actually. It fits our budget perfectly. Again, with goalkeepers, it's all about the clean sheets. It's all about players who you think will make saves, but also not allow goals. Dear Lord, I'm just dropping so much knowledge today. You have to pick players in the group phase competition that are going to have good group stages, and you have to pick goalies who are going to make saves and keep clean sheets. Sky Sports, give me a call. I think a goalkeeper that I really like is Kasper Schmeichel. He's not somebody who is playing for one of the heavy favorites, though I am extremely is generous. But I do really rate Denmark's chances to surprise some people and to make a run. It is a good squad, and their group, I believe they're with Belgium in that Belgium, Finland, Denmark, Russia group. So aside from that Belgium tie on match day 2, Finland and Russia are two matches that I fully expect Denmark to win. I think Denmark finished second in this group and make a bit of a run to at least the quarterfinal. I do like this Denmark squad a lot. But I think Schmeichel fits the bill perfectly because he's a good goalkeeper. He's fantastic for Leicester City, and he's been very good for Denmark as well. But this Danish defense is not one that's a iron wall. I mean, it's not one that's not going to allow any shots. So Schmeichel will have to make his saves. And now a byproduct of that is that he might concede one or two more goals than a player like Gigi Donnarumma or David De Gea or Rui Patricio. Well, Patricio is going to concede because of the group that he's in. But Schmeichel, it's a nice combination of a player who is going to have opportunities to make saves, is good enough to make saves, and will still keep some clean sheets, I think, in the group phase of things. Also, for what it's worth, shaves off $500,000 if I ever want to upgrade anybody. I do like having some funds in the bank heading into match day one. I know some people are strongly against that. Some people would use up all $100 million and just have that be that. But I do like having a bit of a cushion in case there is a player who is on really red hot form, who's a bit more expensive, who I want to bring in for a player who's slacking. So I do like having that extra cushion with me, even if I'm not using it on match day one. I really like Schmeichel as a Euro 2020 fantasy goalkeeper. So now let's do this quickly. We get a goalkeeper, two defenders, and a midfielder on the bench. I'm not even going to hide it here. I'm going to go for the cheapest goalkeeper I can find. Sam Johnston. I'll show you some love. How many people have selected you? 1% of people. I'm one of them. I don't care about my backup goalkeeper. It's going to be Schmeichel. It's Schmeichel, all 3 match days. Backup goalkeeper is probably the least important of the 4 bench slots. Sam Johnston, no offense. I hope you're not watching. Why would you be? Now, in defense, I have been doing a little bit of research, and there are some cheap defenders who you can have on your bench that could still make impacts, that won't just be sitting there to save budget for other players. The first one, we're going to go to Germany, and we're going to go for Marcel Halstenberg, who should be starting in this German side. Again, tough group, but he is on the bench. He's not starting. 4.5 million is a very, very good price for a player who will be starting for one of the tournament's favorites in Germany. Now, do you rate Germany's chances to advance out of that group of death? Maybe. That's a separate conversation. But Halstenberg will be playing, I believe, it's Halstenberg and Klosterman. So Halstenberg probably playing on the left. Could be playing on the right. I'm not sure. But Halstenberg will be starting for Germany, playing one of those fullback slots. And for 4.5 million, you could do a lot worse. You could do a lot worse with bench defenders for that price. So I'll go for Halstenberg just as a player who might potentially make an impact somewhere down the line. And in that same cloth, I could go for Klosterman, who's actually the same price. I don't think I want to go with 2 German defenders, though. I think I want to go and check out Switzerland, because they're a nation that I'm not overly high on, but I do think they can escape the group. Who are they in? They're with, Wales, Italy, Turkey. Actually, I think Switzerland finished 3rd in this group. I think it goes Italy, Turkey, Switzerland, Wales. But for 4.5 million, Nico Elvedi is a very, very good purchase. He's going to be one of their starting center backs. Switzerland playing a 5-back with, you can see, Kevin Mbabu is one of those wing players. That's why he gets high up the pitch. But it'll be Elvedi. It'll probably be Akanji as well. It could be Fabian Schär to fill out that back 3. Elvedi will play. Again, he's cheap. And, if I need him, I'll use him. I don't think I will, but I'd rather have somebody on my bench who can theoretically make an impact if he has to, than somebody who won't do anything if they're the same price. I've got 4.5 left for a midfielder, and this is, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I think I'm just going to go and find the cheapest one. Can I flip this? Can I go? Let's do up to 4.5. Oh, we get 5 to choose from. Let's go with the only guy with a picture. His name is, let's see, Loic Nego. I don't know if he'll play. Oh my God, he plays for Hungary. So he absolutely he's got a rough go of it. 38% of people also have put our boy Loic in on their bench. Tough group, Portugal, France, Germany. It doesn't matter. He's not going to see the light of day in this team. No offense. That's so rude. I'm sure you're a fantastic football player. I'm disrespecting you. But you're not going to get in with Diogo Jota, Ferran Torres, Lorenzo Insigne, and Mason Mount. It's to clear up cap space. I've still got that $500,000 left that I wanted, which is good. I'll be able to carry that into match day 2 or match day 3 if I need it. If somebody is really just having a stinker, if somebody gets injured, I could use that as a bit of a cushion to make some swaps. So I think that's my squad. I don't really want to change anything. I know we talked about potentially Diogo Jota. Maybe we switch him out for somebody, but I do actually like the look of this squad. I've got 3 forwards who will find themselves in goal-scoring chances, Lukaku especially, Depay and Immobile. I suppose Immobile won't create as much as he'll finish chances, but Depay will create along with score. Also, I've got his jersey hanging. I can't, do one of these videos and not pick him. In midfield, I've got 3 midfielders who are actually going to be playing in attack in Insigne, Ferran Torres, and Diogo Jota, and I think Mason Mount will be just as involved as any of those 3. 3 defenders who can keep plenty of clean sheets, Dutch, Spanish, and Belgian. 3 very friendly groups, and I assume that once the knockout phase rolls around, that will not look the same because, spoiler alert, I will probably switch out both of my Belgian players once they get to the round of 16, depending on who they match up against. And then Kasper Schmeichel in goal. So I am happy with it. I don't think I want to make any changes yet, though lineups don't lock for a few hours, so that might be the case. If you want to play along, I'll start a league. I'll leave a join link in the description below in case you want to make your own team and play along with me. I'm excited. This tournament is going to be so much fun. It's been 3 years since we've seen these nations play in a prestigious, depending on what you think of the Nations League, a prestigious international competition. We were robbed of it last year. We should have gotten it in 2020, but that's fine because we get it now in 2021. Should be a fantastic tournament on the horizon. I'm going to keep previewing it for you guys. I'll drop my Euro 2020 predictions video today as well. And the content will continue to roll because this tournament I absolutely cannot wait for. If you liked what you saw, again, please hit that like button. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Click that notification bell so you don't miss a single Euro 2020 video in the future. Like I said, still a few more nations to preview. Those videos will come out in the coming days. I've got my predictions video that I've got to drop in the coming days. Well, today, because I can't drop it after the tournament starts. So subscribe. Hit that bell so you don't miss a single video. Also, please be sure to follow me on Twitter at WillFowler5. Follow London's Finest on Twitter at London's Finest QU. That is the show that me and 2 of my friends do 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where we just sit down on a Zoom call, break down all of the biggest storylines in the world of international, North American, European, just global football. Always a good time. And that can be found again on Twitter at London's Finest QU. We actually just did our Euro 2020 preview video yesterday. You can find that on Twitter and on Periscope. So go ahead and watch that. I will link both of those handles in the description below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.